Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Friday, September 27. Man, September is almost gone. It is getting cold out in the morning. I got to tell you, I am beside myself. It's getting dark out early. All that great stuff that happens with fall and winter that I hate. I can't stand. But such is life, right? That is the way it works. We are heading into marathon season 2. That's what really starts to pique my interest around this time. If there's one thing to turn to, it's all of the successes and accomplishments that we're going to be witnessing over the next few weeks and months. It's a good deal. It's a good deal. We're going to run down, let's do that. We'll do that at the top of the show right now. We'll run down, those of you who are in Team Ordinary who are racing this weekend. So you guys can keep an eye out and cheer those people on. Go to the discussion group too. We're going to talk about that in a second, but go to the discussion group over at facebook.com, /groups/ Ordinary Marathoners, plural. Add yourself to that group if you're not part of it. It is growing like wildfire over there. We'll get to that in one second. So let's go through Team Ordinary's racers this weekend. The Walk-Ons, this is a long race title. I don't know how I don't really understand it. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl Kickoffs Half Marathon in Shreveport, Louisiana. I don't know. I see Independence Bowl. I'm thinking football, but that should be like January, right? December, January. I don't get it. But anyway, Chantel Sandberg is out there racing a half marathon this weekend. Ironman Maryland. That's a big one. Georgios Zavolis, former podcast guest, he just did Atlantic City, and he's out there doing Ironman Maryland. I think Anthony Park is out there doing that one too. I got to get Anthony on the team. He's a man. Both those guys did Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City a couple weeks ago. I guess that was just their prep race for this one. This is a big one. But we'll be cheering on. We'll be tracking Georgios with the Ironman Tracker app. If you don't have it, get it. And follow Georgios. This is a big race for him. This is a big race. We're going to be cheering him on. The Beast of the Brazos, Scott Frossard. Nice to see your name on the list, Scott. Nice to see you out there racing. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you collecting medals, and it's about time you get out there. So I'll be cheering Scott on. I don't know what the Beast of the Brazos is. It sounds pretty intense. 5K, 10K. Half, full. I don't know what you're doing out there, Scott, but good luck to you. And then I think this is the big one of the week. I'm going to call this one the big one of the week. Obviously, the Ironman in Maryland is a big race, but the Berlin Marathon, obviously one of the majors. We have a bunch of people. Who knew? Who knew that the team has like 30, 35 people on it, and 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are out in Berlin racing. Who knew? Danielle Rosevalley, former podcast guest, her husband Mike, they're out there racing, doing the Berlin Marathon. Bill Costello, 2-time podcast guest, he's out there racing. I know that Danielle, all 3 of them, and even Debbie Early and Becky Early, they're out there racing too in Berlin. I know a lot of you guys, I think Danielle, Mike, Bill, and Debbie, I'm not sure about Becky, but you guys are all doing Marine Corps Marathon in a month from now too. God bless you. That's a good piece of work right there. It's getting some miles in, and you guys are crushing it. So good luck to you guys on the weekend. Debbie's out there sporting the the Team Ordinary hat. She said she sent me a message and she said, "Hey, I know you don't have all the stuff yet. You're not going to send everything out, but I noticed that hat, and I'd love to wear it in Berlin." And so, when one of your favorite people ask you for a favor, you get on that right away. So she's out in Berlin sporting the Team Ordinary hat. Love it, Debbie. Best of luck to all you guys out there. So, I do want to talk about the discussion group, but really, I mean, my God, these past couple days have been some of the most exciting for Ordinary Marathoner, for Team Ordinary, all that good stuff. I read a book a long time ago. I think it was a Malcolm Gladwell book. I think it was Outliers, but it might have been one of the other ones like Blink or one. Malcolm Gladwell. His stuff. Some of it I like. Some of it I'm like, But in particular, he wrote a whole section on people who are connectors. He called them connectors, and I am not a good one of those. I try to be at times. And I think at a certain level I am. When I hear this person wants to start a charity, but I know 2 people who have started a charity, I can get those people together and they can talk about how to do it. And I've done things like that before. Sort of like trying to match people up and so that they can all be productive. And I like doing that. It's, there's nothing like setting two people up who you like and getting them together and having them have sort of a productive meeting and push forward together. I tell you what, I saw Debbie Early and Danielle Rosevalley, and I don't know if they knew each other before or if they met each other during, through Ordinary Marathoner, but there's been a lot of people like that who have met through Ordinary Marathoner discussion group, and then they go and they race together. They may not live anywhere close to each other, but then they go race together, and then the next thing you know, they're taking pictures with, together with their, in this case, Debbie's going to be sporting her hat, with their Team Ordinary hat. Anyway, it's like when you can provide that sort of connection, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel, like you've done something productive with your time and your efforts. And in this case, I spent a lot of time building Ordinary Marathoner. It's my pet. I have to coddle it. It's my baby. So it's when I see things like that happen, I love it. And but I am not a good connector. Put it that way. I am not Malcolm Gladwell's quintessential connector. Especially when I see people, and I think it started. I mentioned this in the podcast earlier in the week. Dan Demore reached out to me. Dan just decided after we did that podcast last week, he just decided he's going to invite everybody to the group. So you can do that. Just for people in the group who don't know that, you can do that. You can go and click on the invite button and go through all your runners list or anyone who you think might enjoy being involved in the group. You can go and invite them. And so that's what Dan did. And Dan went and he probably invited 20, 25 people into the group almost immediately. And we went over 700. And I was like, wow, like we've been staring at that 700 number for months, getting really close to it. And I try to do little Facebook posts or Twitter posts to try to get people but my marketing skills and sales skills are really terrible. And I try, but I also, I want to make sure when we grow the group that we grow it with the right people. I feel like if we oversaturate the group with people that I don't know, I don't know where the page is going to go. I don't want to have to moderate. You guys are all big, grown-ups, and we treat each other with respect all the time. I've rarely had to had to take anything down off of the page. But and that's the last thing I want is the wrong kind of people coming in. So, when someone like Dan invites people in, I obviously trust Dan. Dan knows his people, and he invites everybody in. And then the next thing I know, Matt Shore, he jumps on the bandwagon, and he's inviting people in. And it's like, geez, next thing I know, we're over 800 people. It's like I blink, we're over 800 people. I got Mike Barfield inviting people in, and then people I don't even know are inviting people in. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome. And I just to watch it grow, which is something that I haven't been able to do on my own because I don't know. I think I'm also I'm a little older, and I kind of like have this really kind of love-hate relationship with social media. It is what it is. It's really hard for me. I rely on you guys. I've always said I wanted this, if it was going to grow, I wanted it to grow sort of organically on its own. And this is the way. And I see people, and in the past I've had Katie Mayo, Jen Bergstrom. They have invited people. Jen invited a few more, I know. And it's just, when you put something out there and you build something, and then people enjoy it enough that they are, that they act like you're connectors, right? Since I am not a connector, like I said, these guys go out and they do it for me. And it's just an amazing thing to see when when all of a sudden, something you've worked so hard on, and then people take it and they enjoy it and they share it with their friends and it starts to grow and you're like, wow. So I thank all you guys for inviting people in, and I thank all the people, because then there's another step when people get invited in. I believe I have to approve them, which I do. That I pretty much approve anyone unless they look like a spammer. We've been attacked by spammers on the page before, but I try to give everyone a fair shot until they prove otherwise, and. It's really nice to see, and I welcome all you guys to the group. I hope it remains productive. I'm sure it will. I know Matt and Dan and Mike are salt of the earth people. So I only feel great about this next sort of phase that we have with Ordinary Marathoner, with Team Ordinary. We're going to be rolling out. Now let's talk about Team Ordinary. I got our stickers in earlier in the week, our little oval stickers, which actually they were a little bigger than I thought they were going to be, but they're still pretty cool. I threw one on my bike rack on the car. I put a picture up on the Facebook page, and they look pretty cool. So now the only thing we're missing are these bags. And I was told on Tuesday when I picked up the stickers, I was told that the bags would be in either today, and I'm crossing my fingers, or Monday. So this is looking like a next week rollout for us. My basement looks like an Asian sweatshop, minus the Asians. I'm gonna get in trouble for that, right? I'm gonna get in trouble. But yeah, the one's gonna, this is why I won't get in trouble. The one who's gonna be sweating, this guy. We got boxes taped up here, all ready to go. Hats, shirts, everything's ready to go except for the bags. So for those of you guys who have submitted your bio to me and they're up on the page already, I'll be reaching out to you to get your shirt sizes and all that good stuff. For those of you guys still wanting to get involved, you can either reach out to me personally, and I'll let you know the scoop, or you can just wait a couple days, and we'll be officially rolling this out and launching next week. I hope, unless something's wrong with the bags. So that's awesome. I'm super excited about all this stuff. I don't know. About the only thing I haven't been excited about is my own training. Let's go there. Let's take it there. I've been doing a lot of work on the bike in the last few days, and I think the reason is like I've decided to put this thing in my head where whenever I watch football, and we've talked about this, I instead of watching on the couch, eating wings and drinking beer, I am sitting on the bike, eating gels and drinking water, Noon, that kind of stuff. I've been trying out the Noon tablets. You guys like this stuff? I don't know. I feel like it's pretty good. I like it. I had a call, something to mention. I had a call with people at F2C. I think that's what it's called, F2C Nutrition. It sounds like a small company that they're kind of on the up and up. A nutrition company. They sound like they're doing the right things. I ordered some stuff from them. I'm going to try it out. You guys know me. I don't like doing product reviews. And I'll tell you why. This is a good story. This is a good story for the podcast. This is why I started to do product reviews and I decided not to. And the reason is there's a lot of nice people out there. There really are. And a lot of people out there are like, hey, you do a podcast. You have a YouTube channel. You have a Facebook group. Can you review my product? And what they mean by that is, can you tell everyone that my product is awesome and try to sell it for me? And in order to do that, here's a few free things. And the problem is that I'm too honest for my own good sometimes. And I want to say I talked to two people in particular that I remember whose products, let's just say, they weren't bad necessarily. They just aren't something that I would use. And so, I got them, I tried them out, and I gave them honest feedback. I said, hey, listen, I don't, thank you, but I really can't sell this to my people because it's not something that I would use. It's not something I find useful. So it's like one of those things where, if I was to do a product review and if I wanted to do an actual product review, I'd have to take this person who was kind enough to reach out to me and give me a free sample of their things in the hopes that I would help them. And I would have to if I actually did a real product review, I'd have to say bad things about the things that they gave me. So I don't want to do that. And I think that that's one of the downfalls of the running community and the people that you see are people are just willing to hawk anything. They just... Is that even the right word? Hawk, whatever. They're just willing to sell anything. And you see it all over the place. And I can't tell you how many useless things I've gotten. Things that just like little trinkets now that are just kind of like lying around the house that I'll never ever use. But, have either been given to me or, I've tried out because other people say, hey, this is great. Check this out. And I buy something and I'm like, I'm never going to use this stuff. It goes in the drawer and never comes out. I don't want to do that to you guys. I've never been like, and so the thing is, that's how some groups make money. That's how they pay the bills. I have bills. I don't make money in this thing. Not yet. Maybe one day. I'm starting to coach, all that good stuff. And all that stuff will funnel through. But, I think the integrity of this project has always been very important to me. And I can't tell you how many people I see trying to sell you the next latest thing and to be honest, some people who develop these products, they're really nice people. They're really trying hard. They really believe in what they're selling. It's not an effective thing for me. So if it's not something I can use, I can't really give it a good review and pass that on to you guys. So, to go full circle, I had this great call with F2C Nutrition. I ordered some of their stuff. I'm going to be trying it out over the next few weeks and months. And what the thing that got me with them is like there are nutrition companies out there that they develop their product, they put it on the shelf, you either buy it or you don't. There wasn't really a personal touch. These guys have a Facebook page. They were answering my questions. They were talking about working with people and trying to kind of dial in your nutrition on a one-on-one level. And that they, you can make changes, you can, you develop that and everything. And I like that. As a coach, I definitely like that because everyone's nutrition is different. Everyone's body is different. Everyone handles sugar differently, carbs differently, electrolytes, all that good stuff. So for them to actually have the background knowledge of what you need and how to figure out what you need on a personal level, and then to sort of provide that at a very open. They're very naturalistic. They kind of they don't like putting crap in their food, which I kind of like too. I'm not a hippie either. I'm not a hippie either. I don't, I'm good with Gatorade. If it was good for me, if it was good for my stomach and I could handle it and that's all I needed, I'd be fine with that. But, it's not the case for me. I can't just go out there and drink gallons and gallons of Gatorade. It will be bad. It will have bad results. So, what I'm saying is if I get the products and I like the products and I enjoy the products and they continue to help me kind of dial in my nutrition, I got no problem endorsing a company like that. I just for now I'll withhold that until I try it out. So that's but the thing is I never had these calls before, and Matt Shore actually hooked me up with them. I also had a very great phone call yesterday with Allison Knott, who has been part of our group in the past, and she helped me out. She's a registered dietitian who specializes in training and helping athletes with their diets. And I've worked with her in the past, and she's wonderful. And we're going to do, she's actually heading on vacation. She's going to Spain. Lucky. But when she gets back from Spain, we're going to start talking with her. We're going to do a podcast with her. We're probably going to we're trying to get together some kind of Q&A or some kind of session where we do like a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live where you guys can ask her questions and things like that. Again, just you know what it is? It's the positive energy. And we kind of talked about this a little bit in the last podcast about hanging out with people and trying to acquaint yourself with people who have who help you, who support you. And, when I have these calls and I talk to people who are excited about, in F2C's case, Glenda was her name, very excited about her product, and I told her about my basement and how it's all set up like a shipping department. She's like, that's the entrepreneur. Like, that's what you do. That's what you have to do. Apparently that's what they do too. So I support that. I support that energy, that good energy. Hopefully, and I hope I'm pretty sure that their product will be great. I'm very excited about it, actually. And the same thing with Allison, all about positive energy. And it's like you have this phone call and it's, she believes in us, in our group, and how it's developing and growing. And I believe in her. I've worked with her in the past. She's helped me out with my diet and all that. Although I've gained 10 pounds since Ironman Lake Placid. That's bad. That's not Allison's fault either. But I've worked with her in the past when I've done like race nutrition and that kind of thing. And she's wonderful. So we're going to talk to her in a few weeks. We'll have her on the podcast. And then we're going to, like I said, we're going to try to do some kind of Q&A with Facebook Live or YouTube, something like that, some kind of streaming thing. I don't know. I'm not technical at all. And then I had Heather Samuelson. She's a local personal trainer. She trains Stephanie. She came in last night and Stephanie couldn't take her normal appointment for training. Stephanie was busy. So I took it and we filmed sort of an exercise routine for a runner. It was a like sort of a pre-run muscle activation exercise routine. I don't know how the film came out. I have it here. It's right here. It's all on this little GoPro card. This is it. You believe that? This is it. This is the footage on this little thing. Is the footage of me exercising with the personal trainer. Heather is awesome. She's great. She totally knows what she's doing. She was, she walked me through these exercises, and there were just about 3 of them. It wasn't really a stretch routine. It was more of an exercise routine. And if I can put the video together and it presents itself well, I'll put it up on YouTube. Embarrass myself. I am no Jane Fonda, that's for sure. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And she was like, she really enjoyed it, and she's like, I could see doing like a series of exercise routines for runners, and I'm like, that's another one. Just surround yourself with these people that are just high energy, positive folks who only want to help you out. It's just, I would just say the last week has been super exciting for Ordinary Marathoner, for Team Ordinary. I can't wait to get this stuff in and get rolling and get launched with this. You guys are crazy. I was talking to Stephanie the other day. I said, and this is kind of to wrap it up, I guess, but one of the things I was thinking about was, we talked a lot about, I talk a lot about watching football and cheering on your football team, and how it really bothers me sometimes. And the Antonio Brown situation only got worse. And specifically, I remember, I told him to cut him. Didn't I tell him to cut him? When I saw Antonio Brown score that touchdown, and I thought to myself, man, how could anyone in their right mind, even a Patriots fan, stand up and cheer for this guy? And whether he's guilty or not is not even the case. It's just a matter of his attitude and how he approaches life. And then you can combine, whatever potential, like I think the way I put it was minimally he's acted unprofessionally, and at the far end he acted criminally. And you can judge wherever you want to judge. I know people judge. I would say I will stay with however unprofessional he's acted in the last 2 years is good enough for me not to ever want to root for a guy like that. And then I turned it over and I started looking at Team Ordinary, and I'm like, man, without even blinking an eye, we have like 30, 35 people with bios up there. I mean, this is not even within our official launch. And I'm thinking thousands, if not millions of people cheer on a guy like Antonio Brown, who doesn't deserve it. In my opinion, does not deserve it. Yet we have Chantel Georgios, Scott Fressard, Debbie Early, Becky Early, Danielle Rosevalley, Mike Rosevalley, Bill Costello. You guys are out there crushing it this week. You'll have our team. You'll have our Facebook group all backing you. That's hundreds of people cheering you on, literally, just from our little corner of the world. And I thought to myself, man, if someone like Antonio Brown, who doesn't deserve to be cheered, is cheered on by millions, why can't we get these folks? Why can't we get ordinary folks? And I mean that with great respect. Don't get me wrong. When I say ordinary, Ordinary Marathoner started as sort of a sarcastic way to say, hey, ordinary people can do marathons too, right? Anyone who does a marathon is not ordinary. That's sort of the way it started. And it's kind of developed, and I see people sort of talk about being, I don't want to be ordinary. I want to be extraordinary. Well, of course you want to be extraordinary. But I tell you what, you finish a marathon, you're extraordinary. Period. And our group, I feel like everyone in this group and everyone who supports one another, you're all extraordinary. And in that respect, because we're all together, in sort of a solidarity type of fashion, we're all ordinary in that right? We're all the same. We all support one another. We all, we root each other on. We cheer each other on. We all want everyone to succeed. And I love that about our group, and I love that about Team Ordinary, is that Ordinary is more like a show of solidarity than it is of being less than extraordinary. And that's why I wear this hat proudly, and that's why I have the sticker on my car. And that's why I cheer all these people on. And I thought to myself, man, wouldn't it be great if instead of having thousands and millions of people cheer on someone like Antonio Brown, we had thousands and millions of people cheering on people who are actually out there regular people, people who have day jobs, who aren't, out there stroking their own egos and, being obnoxious. In the case of a lot of people out, I mean, geez, I've talked about the PED use in football and how it's kind of like no one even cares anymore. It's like 4-game suspension. 4 games. Geez, we lost that guy for 4 games. No one cares that the person cheated. They just care that they lost him for 4 games. And that drives me insane. People like Kareem Hunt, he gets cut, he gets signed. Now he's on a team. Did you see what that guy did? Did you see? Now, look, that's not saying like, all right, if Kareem Hunt, I got to think about that. What happened if Kareem Hunt just signed up for Team Ordinary? I don't know. And look, people make mistakes too. I don't want to get on the case of every single NFL player because they're not all like that, obviously. I just think that sometimes there's a lot of pro athletes out there who we support just because they're on our team. And look, I got to be honest. I do believe in second chances. I do. So, I take a step back from that, but I'll say someone obnoxious like Antonio Brown would have to do a lot to get a second chance at this point for, to win someone like me over. I don't know. So look, that's really like kind of an interesting thing. I didn't even think about it. But anyway, so I thought about it and I was starting to think, all right, we got 30, 35 people in the group as it is. I should have a counter and I should have a goal. And, it was funny. So I'm driving there and I'm like, Steph, how many people do you think we could get signed up for Ordinary Marathon, for Team Ordinary? And she's like, she's thinking, I'm like, 1 million people. And she kind of laughed. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no. If there are 1 million people out there in the past 2 years who have cheered on someone like Antonio Brown, why can't we have 1 million people cheering on our Team Ordinary? Our ordinary, our regular folks out there working hard to better themselves, competing with only themselves. Isn't that a team that anyone can get on, everyone can get on? And then I thought, maybe that's obnoxious on my behalf. Maybe that's ridiculous. But then I thought that there was one day where I stepped out of my house and I weighed 280 pounds. And I started running. And I barely got a quarter of a mile before quitting. Or at least before walking. And having to stop run. Let's say that. And the thought that I would ever do in full Ironman on that day was insane. If you would have told me that, anyone who would have told me standing on that trail, wheezing, sweating, looking at my watch and seeing like 0.27 miles or whatever it was that I did on that first day, anyone who would have looked at me and said, hey, that guy's going to do a full Ironman within the next 3 years, you would have laughed them out. You just would have laughed them out of the room. There's just no way. So why, when I look at this group and I see what connectors like Matt and Dan and Mike and Katie Mayo and Jen Bergstrom have done for me in this group, why can't I say, let's get 1 million people? I'm not the connector. I need help. I'm not a marketer. I just think that you guys are awesome. I think this group is awesome. And I think that normal people and everyday people who get up in the morning and take their kids to school and then go to work and then come home and make dinner and somehow find a way to train, to do a little something for themselves, you need the support. And this group is here for you. I'm not even like claiming ownership at this point. This group is just amazing people who are willing to cheer you on and help you achieve your goals. Good deal? I think so. 1 million people. 1 million ordinary people. I'm almost trying hard not to laugh myself. And that's what I would have probably thought to myself if I would have looked at myself when I was 280 pounds, finishing a quarter mile, and then said that guy's going to do a full Ironman in 3 years. I might have kind of smiled. I probably wouldn't have chuckled out loud because that's just rude, but I probably would have doubted that. And I'm doubting that we can get to 1 million people. Let's just try to chip them off one by one. Join us, get together, cheer each other on, get your bio in, get your races on schedule, and we'll move forward from there. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.
Remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel.